Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in the works, as well as a handful of other projects by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new Star Wars universe is that both Favreau and Filoni are really going out of their way to making a lot of adjustments behind the scenes, given that, of course, they have a lot more creative power now, and they have a lot more influence over a handful of all of the other Star Wars projects that have yet to have been announced that will be at both D23 and Disney Plus Day, so keep your eyes open for that because this fall is going to be a very big deal. Now, with that being said, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with the fact that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm between, of course, everything related to Disney Star Wars and how they want to actually respect the franchise from this point on forward. Basically, what they're trying to do is reviving Star Wars Legends and dragging that into the current Disney canon to keep it as accurate as possible as they can and to really just satisfy the hardcore fans and create new fans that enjoy the actual Legends material. Now, moving to where we are today, alright, Favreau has been making a lot of choices, a lot of major decisions to turn things around for the Star Wars franchise, to really make a lot of change within, of course, Lucasfilm as a company, given that, like I say, he has a lot more creative pull now with a lot of the new Star Wars TV shows. And that brings us to exactly what's been happening behind the scenes with a specific Star Wars creator for a specific Star Wars show. Now, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now getting ready to begin production on a number of new Star Wars shows for their Disney Plus platform, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to make some drastic changes behind the scenes in order to make a better future for the franchise. Now, it's described that since Favreau got his big-time promotion over at Lucasfilm, he has been clearing way to turn things around for the brand. Now, recently Favreau finalized the choice to fire and let go of director and writer Robert Rodriguez from the Book of Boba Fett Season 2, where he was initially set up to return for the job as a director and a writer. Now, the big decision not only came down from Bob Chapek, but also Favreau made the ultimate call, since he is writing the show currently with Filoni. Now, Robert was fired from the project due to multiple reasons. Number one of which was that Favreau was very unhappy with the fact that Rodriguez had tons of creative input, since he was favored as an executive producer by Kathleen Kennedy, and that Kennedy had some creative pull as well for the show, since she held a contract from the Book of Boba Fett movie and the script that was cancelled, and how that was reused in the actual show, similar to how the Kenobi series went down. The second big reason Favreau let go of Rodriguez was also due to the fact that Robert lied about the Boba Fett show when marketing was beginning. Robert promised the series was all killer, no filler, and that turned out to be the complete opposite, and that the plot was about Boba Fett hunting down all the enemies from his past in the series, which never ended up being true of what Robert said, which was nearly absent from the plot for the most part. Now, Favreau was very unhappy with the way Kathleen Kennedy let Robert market the series, and that Favreau wanted to market and promote it, but Kathleen Kennedy was not allowing him to do so in the process. So, let me just stop right here quick for a second. Jon Favreau wanted to market the series in the proper sense. He wanted to give a very honest expectation of, what the fans can expect to see in the show, and Kathleen Kennedy was not allowing him to do that. Instead, she wanted Robert Rodriguez to really take the role of promoting the series and saying that it's all killer, no filler, and that it's going to involve all of the enemies from Boba Fett's past that he will be hunting down. That never ended up happening, by the way. A lot of fans, when Robert said that, expected Boba Fett to maybe hunt down other bounty hunters, perhaps even those associated with maybe the original trilogy, like Han Solo, like trying to track him down, stuff like that. There was a lot of things in there that never really ended up happening because of what Robert Rodriguez set up for expectations that really did not end up being the case. And I think that the biggest thing of all was the fact that Robert said that this show was all killer, no filler. Now, let's be realistic. We're not expecting 100% action all the time, right? But at the very least, when you say something like that, you expect to have some kind of big things happening at least for, you know, a good solid 10 minutes per episode. And there were a lot of times when the Book of Boba Fett series had a flat line, where nothing was really happening in the sense of what Robert said. All killer, no filler, right? So that was a little overhyped. Now, moving forward from that, alright? Now, the second season of Boba Fett, with Robert now out, is set to focus on Boba Fett's darker side, showcasing his role as a pure bounty hunter and going off-world from Tatooine, and showing fans brand new locations that they have never seen before. Favreau is also going to be dragging in some worlds from Star Wars Legends to make the series more fun for the hardcore fans. Additionally, Tamora Morrison is set to play multiple characters in the Book of Boba, which could and very well hint toward other clones of himself appearing in the show, just as he was involved in the Kenobi TV show. Favreau and Filoni are also making sure that they will only be hiring talented artists for the Book of Boba Fett moving ahead. They have been talking to Robert, and of course Robert is trying to reason with Disney to bring him back on board for the second season. This was only caused more drama and problems behind the scenes for the past couple of weeks for Disney and Lucasfilm as companies. However, Favreau also wanted to make it clear to Disney that he wants to bring in special cameos more effectively in Boba without ignoring Boba Fett. And I think that was the other thing that really bothered a lot of fans. When you look back at Season 1, alright, when you look back at the show, Episode 6, I believe, is when Luke Skywalker shows up. Episode 5 is when Din Djarin pops up, I believe. And we had pretty much 2 full episodes of Boba Fett being practically completely absent from the show. And I think that's exactly why a lot of fans get mixed up with looking at the scenes of Luke and Mando and Ahsoka and Grogu. A lot of fans, a lot of people that I know, always subconsciously think that was The Mandalorian Season 2, or just The Mandalorian in general. Subconsciously speaking, of course. Takes them a little, while to realize, hey, wait, that was Book of Boba. So, that was the one problem. And I see this a lot in the comments, that a lot of people always reference the Luke scene on Alsis with Grogu and Ahsoka. That was actually from The Mandalorian Season 2, when it was really from Book of Boba. So it created a lot of confusion, and that was out of Jon Favreau's control. That was actually a Kathleen Kennedy creative pull. She wanted to drag in cameos that would ignore Boba Fett in the process. Meanwhile, what Favreau is doing now with the Boba Fett Season 2 project is dragging in cameos that are going to actually work with Boba Fett. So what does that mean? Well, it most likely means that yes, we will be getting a lot of bounty hunter-oriented cameos this time around. So, I'm not complaining about Luke, Ahsoka, and Grogu and Din being in Boba Fett. It was nice and all, but they should have handled it in a more effective way, where they could have mixed it in together with some of the other characters. That's all I'm saying. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.